Love it. Huh. Come here. Good evening, good Shabbos. We are beginning. In the Siddur, page number 5, we'll begin with Shalom Aleichem, which is a reminder that our words bring shalom into the world. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon. Page 5. Mi melech, Malachei Hamlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, malachei ha-shalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, malachei ha-shalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, malachei ha-shalom. This for later. Malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We turn now to the Lechuna Ranana in the Siddur on page number 11. Page 11. Lechune ranina, lechune ranina, lechune ranina, ladonai. Lechune ranina, lechune ranina, lechune ranina, ladonai. Naria, naria, litzur yishenu, nikadma fana bitoda. Naria, naria, litzur yishenu, bizmirat naria lo. Lechune ranina, lechune ranina. Lechune ranina ladonai, lechune ranina, lechune ranina, lechune ranina ladonai. Across the page on the English side. Let us go and sing to Adonai. Let us trumpet praise to our protector. Filled with thanks, let us greet God, raising our voice in song. Great is Adonai, a greater sovereign than all other deities. God's hands form the earth's deep. Mountain crests too are God's work. The sea is God's, for God made it. Dry land was fashioned by God's hands. Come then, let us bow and kneel. Let us bend our knees in the presence of Adonai, who formed us. The bottom of 12. Arbaim shana kut v'dor v'amaram to'e levavhem v'hem lo yidu drachai asher nishbati v'yapi im yavon el menuchati. And on page 14 on the English side, on page 14 in the Siddur on the English side. Bow to Adonai in the glory of this holy place. Tremble before God's presence, all who dwell on earth. Announce among the nations, Adonai reigns. The land is firm and will not be moved. Peoples will be truthfully judged. The heavens shall be glad and the earth rejoice. The sea and its fullness roar. The meadows and all that grows in them exult. Even the trees of the forest shall sing praise as Adonai comes to judge the earth, judging lands with righteousness and peoples with divine truth. The skies are happy. The trees are happy. Bob, did you know that? Will's Hayes? Heidi, do you know that the trees are happy? The skies are happy. They're singing about it. The grass is happy. We turn to the first song sheet, Craig Taubman, Holy Ground. The first song sheet, Craig Taubman, Holy Ground.
Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, everything, everyone, every place, every way, where you walk, where you stand, where you love, where you praise, all of life is holy ground. Every he, every she, every what, every who, it's in her, it's in them, it's in me, it's in you. In the bitter, in the sweet, in the calm, in the storm, all of life is holy ground. So walk as if it's holy ground. Breathe as if it's all around. Talk and make a holy sound. Take your shoes off, you're on holy ground. When you hurt, when you heal, when you laugh, when you pray, when you hold, when you keep, when you give it away, every second, every minute, every hour, every day, all of life is holy ground. So walk as if it's holy ground. Breathe as if it's all around. Talk and make a holy sound. We take our shoes off, we're on holy ground. We are one people, one story, one tapestry we weave, one journey, one glory, one legacy we leave. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, everything, everyone, every place, every way, where you walk, where you stand, where you love, where you praise, all of life is holy ground. Can you feel the holy ground? Take your shoes off, you're on holy ground.
Please turn to page 19, the English side, page 19. The first half of the psalm. Adonai reigns, nations tremble, the one enthroned amidst the Keruvim makes the world quake. Adonai is great in Sion, above all nations. They shall acknowledge your name, saying, Great, awe-inspiring, Holy One. A sovereign strength lies in the love of justice, and you forge the paths of truth, judging Jacob righteously and justly. Exalt Adonai, our God. Bow down before God, the Holy One. Let's stop there. A sovereign strength lies not in armies, lies not in machinery. Strength lies in loving justice, loving doing the right thing. On page 19. It's the last line on the English side. Exalt Adonai our God and bow down at God's holy mountain, for Adonai our God is holy. Turning to the next song sheet, it's entitled Gai Matzeps, but we're looking at the second song, Sow in Tears, Reap in Joy by Debbie Friedman. And this is here because on my mind is our date in the calendar. We're in the shadows of D-Day. And the loss that our nation sustained, by the loss of so many people willing to fight unreservedly and unabashedly for our freedom, for the safety and the freedom of people whom they would never see again because they wouldn't come home, for the freedom of children and grandchildren whom they would never embrace, and so many more adjectives. And as you look at this phrasing, which by the way comes from a psalm, it's Psalm 127 from the Bible, you plant in tears, and it takes a long time for that harvest to come forth. But when the harvest comes forth, you're joyous. And that's how I'm struggling. That's how I'm contending right now with all the loss that our nation experienced, and the gratitude that we have to continue to extend earnestly from our hearts to all of our veterans. Debbie Friedman's Sow in Tears.
Those who sow will sow in tears, will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those
This is based upon Psalm 127. Ask yourselves, what is it about a person who is crying and still able to go out to work in the fields? What is it about somebody who is weeping and still able to go out and do some kind of work that's going to have a consequence for the future? That's what we're talking about. It's resolve, it's strength, it's willingness to see a future in front of you even when the present is bringing you to tears. Page 21. There's one of it. Havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai kavod va'oz, havu l'Adonai kavod shemo, hishtachavu l'Adonai b'hadrat kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod, hirim Adonai al mayim rabim, Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shaver arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et arzei halvanon, Vayarkirem kemo egel Lebanon, Vasiryon kemo ven re'emim, Kol Adonai chotzei v'lavot eish, Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar, Yachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai Yecholel Ayalot, Vayechesof Yearot, Uvehechalo Kulo Omer Kavod, Adonai Lamabul Yashav, Vayeshev Adonai Melech Leolam, Adonai Oz Liamo Yitain, Adonai Yavarech et Amo Vashalom. L'Charudei on page 23, the opening two stanzas, and then page 25, the concluding two stanzas. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmianu el hamiyuchad, Adonai echad, u'shmo echad. L'shem ultif eret v'lit hila, lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabela, likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machashava techila, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nikabela, yamin usmol tifrotzi, V'et Adonai taritzi, al yad ish ben partzing, v'nismecha v'nagila, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nikabela, bo'iv shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, tochemunei am segula, bo'ichala, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nikabela. Please remain standing. Turning to page 28. This is the Psalm for Shabbat. And we've studied this many times, but I want to just point out something. we stood up for L'Charodi, which is not part of the Bible. L'Charodi is a recent song. It was composed only about 500 years ago in northern Israel. It's a recent innovation, recent addition to the service, only 500 years old, whereas the Psalms are 3,000 years old. And when we stand up as L'Charodi, we're looking at the door and we're thinking, what would it be like if we could catch a glimpse of the actual spirit of Shabbat walking in our door? That's what we're looking for. And now we're at the conclusion of the psalm, which is associated with Shabbat for thousands of years. And it's the bottom of page 28, the last two stanzas. And the prayer book is certain that you and I are the right people for the world. Last two stanzas. The righteous flourish like the date palm, thrive like a cedar in Lebanon, planted in the house of Adonai. They flourish in our God's courtyards. In old age they remain fruitful, still fresh and bountiful, proclaiming Adonai is upright, my rock in whom there is no flaw. The Siddur is saying, by quoting the Psalms, that you and I are as much a part of the world as the trees and the meadows and the fields. And a few moments ago we said, they're all singing. And the Siddur knows that you and I have a role to play to make the world better. That's why it's here. Remaining standing, the Borchu, page 39a. Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach. Baruch Adonai hamavorach le'olam v'ed. We are seated. The first bracha on the English side, page 39a, the first bracha of the evening service. Baruch atah Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the days to vision, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tzvaot is your name, living and ever-present God. May your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk. El chai v'kayam, tamidim lo chalein olam bo'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. Page 40. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Havtam Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadita Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shachvenu u'v'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam v'ed ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu ve'orech yameinu u'v'hem negeh yomam v'layla Ve'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael. Valor, come on up. Come on. Gail, come on up. Come on up. No, Valor, quick, we're reading. Come on up. You know this, come on up. We've imported talent from where do you live? Mobile. Where do you live? Singapore. We brought guest talent in for the Shema. Shema's on page 41. Stand right here. Together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kol Malchut Ha'olam Va'ed. V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'v'shachbecha u'v'kumecha u'kishartam la'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'sharecha. You can go back to your seat. A few moments of silence, continuing on page number 42, a few moments of silence. Go back to your seat if you want. Well, I'm going to have you do for Shamru, okay? So you want to stay up here with me? Okay, I'll tell you what. It'll be 46 in a second. In a minute. Adonai Elohechem emet. Turn to page 44, please. The Michamocha, page 44. I grew up attending synagogue. I've known the Michamocha all my life. It's in my ears since I was ages 8, 9, 10. And it always starts in the evening service with Umalchuto Moshe b'nei Israel, Moses and people of Israel. But about 8 years ago, this Siddur came out, and this Siddur very wisely said, no, Miriam. Inserting one word changed the entire outlook for me on what it means to have a Siddur. Because it reminded us that we continue to grow and learn and understand and appreciate the input of ever more many, many contributing people. Miriam, Memre Shud Mem, four letters. I always get excited looking at the top of page 44. The English side, the first two lines, then the rest in the Hebrew. But I want you to see Moses and Miriam, the first two lines, and the rest in Hebrew. Then Moses, Miriam, and the people of Israel joyfully sang to you. Across the page in the Hebrew. Mi chamocha bo'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, norati lot osef ele, malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokeh yam lifnei Moshe, Ze'eli anu v'yamru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar kifada Adonai et Yaakov, ugalo mi'ar chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. The Hashkivenu at the top of page 45 on the English side. Excuse me, page 45 on the English. Hashkivenu Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings. For you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people, Israel, and over Jerusalem. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai, Hapores sukat shalom aleinu, V'al kol amo Yisrael, V'al Yerushalayim. The top of page 46. Ready? 1, 2, 3. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'ridolam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'ridolam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael ot hila olam, ot hila olam, ot hi leolam. V'shamro v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'ridolam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz v'shamro v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'ridolam. Uvayom hashvi shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash v'shamro. Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'ridolam. Just Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabam be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon uv'yamechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'gala ba'gala uv'isman kariv Ve'imero amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach la'alam li'almei almayayit. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemei dekudesh abrichu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran balma v'imiru. Amen. Thank you. You can go back to your seat. Take your candy. Thank you. We rise to the Amida, page 47 to 52, in the traditional, or an opportunity for us to devise our own silent private prayers. A few moments of silence for the Amida. I talk with my hands. I use my hands a lot when I'm speaking. I think many people do. We want to get people to pay attention to us. We want to make sure they are paying attention. Jewish people use their hands. But we also use our hands not just to get people to pay attention, but to do something to our own bodies. And I'm thinking of Friday night when we light candles. We light the candles, and what do we do with our fingers? We wave a little bit. Some people wave up here, some people do this. Not a big deal, okay? But we move our hands typically 3 times. Why? Because we're bringing the light into our bodies. We're bringing the light into our beings, so our beings are changed by the light. That's Friday night. And then the rest of Shabbat, we go about our business. See, my hands are moving again. And then on Saturday night, we do something else with our hands. And on Saturday night, we have a ceremony called Havdalah. And we hold up a Havdalah candle, which can be any color, multiple braids. The more braids, the better for Havdalah. We like to have a candle that's extravagant in its composition. And the lights are turned down, and then we hold our hands up and we catch a little bit of the light upon the surface of our fingertips, and we also are generating shadow within our cupped hands. We're doing 2 things at the same time. We're creating light upon the surface of our fingernails and shadow inside our hands. And so in effect, we have light and dark within our own bodies, which is different than Friday night when we first welcome Shabbat by bringing light into our beings. Because we're different people in there Saturday night than we're Friday night. We've been through the entire experience of Shabbos. Shabbat is fading, and we recognize that light and dark and the transition between are affecting us as spiritual beings. And I want us to hold on to that. And I want to tell you a story. And you have to ask, why do we cup our hands like this? It's an ancient story. It's a secret story, and almost nobody knows this story. And it goes back to the time of when Adam and Eve were first in that garden. And you know, they got embarrassed, and they didn't have any clothes, and so they put some garments that they made out of leaves upon their bodies. You know that part, but what you don't know is there's a small sentence that describes that God dressed them with clothing of skin just before they left the garden. So they went out, and they now had a different kind of garment, not just the leaves that they made, but skin. So here comes the story. If they had skin only when they were being kicked out, what were they like beforehand? And this very old story says, they were covered in a shiny material that reflected light, and it looked like they glowed. And that material is tziporen, which we call fingernail and toenail. And their entire bodies reflected glowing light. But once they got kicked out of the garden and they had garments of ordinary skin, they lost that ability to have a glowing brightness all over their bodies. And everybody else has a kind of a built-in reminder of what Adam and Eve first had, the fingernail. But we also are covered by skin. So when we are making Havdalah on Saturday night, what we're really doing is we're going back in time and we're saying, gosh, if only we were right there at that moment before Adam and Eve got kicked out, and we'd all be covered with the shiny substance known as tziporen. We'd be glistening and glowing and bright. That's another reason why we cup our hands. I want us to think about Havdalah. We're used to the flame, we're used to the candles, but we also know that there's an ingredient known as spices. Okay? Take one and pass. One more and pass. Take one and take one. Take one to share, okay? Pass that down. We have a spice, and we have spices, and we have one more. So, and as you smell the spices, I have to tell you another reason why we have spices at Havdalah. And you may not know this, Baby Leah knows this because she's close. She was right there. You and I have been away from God by being out of the womb for so many years, but Leah Tzivia was right there, so she remembers everything. The reason that we are smelling spices on Saturday night is that the nose is considered the doorway for the soul, because the soul is connected to breathing. And so you breathe in the aroma, but what you don't know is that all of your lives you have your own soul. But on Friday night, just as we light candles, each one of us is gifted an additional soul just for Shabbat. And from Friday night until Havdalah time, that second soul is part of us in addition to the regular soul we have. And then at Havdalah time, what happens? That second Shabbat soul leaves. And it leaves where? Through the nose. And we're saddened to lose that second Shabbat soul. And so we breathe in something that smells good as that second soul is leaving, and we're lifted up. She's not kvetching. She's just doing what she's doing. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. So I want us to understand what Havdalah is all about. No, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. Lori, it's okay. I'm not worried. I like having kids in the room. We haven't had kids in the room in a whole generation. I like having kids in the room. Yeah, absolutely. New Jewish soul, right here from God. Absolutely. That's okay. Let her shuckle. So I want us to think about Havdalah as I framed it now. One is that our bodies are vessels for appreciating the glow of light. And two, our noses are instruments of paying attention to the spiritual dimension of who we are. That's what Havdalah is all about, to sensitize us as beings, as physical beings, to the spiritual side of who we are. And we get to do that every single Saturday night. Havdalah is a very brief ceremony. Really, it's just 3 minutes. It's Hagafen, because we always have Hagafen. And then it's the spices, Borei Mine Besamim, and then it's the Borei Morei Ha'esh, and you'll hold your hands. And then it's a concluding paragraph which talks about the differences in our lives. Being Jewish, not Jewish, living in ordinary time or living in holy time. That's it. This is on my mind because for 4 years, we've had a very special Havdalah available to us. It emerged from the onset of the pandemic. And Rabbi Kramer, a good friend of mine, my colleague in Montgomery, saw an opportunity, and he gathered together 2 cantors and 3 song leaders. And then I joined in. And we've been doing Havdalah now for 4 years. And during those first 2 years, when people were afraid, when people were isolated, people were alone, people came together, and we sang together, and we talked, bless you, and we lit candles, and people had Havdalah in their own homes, and they smelled the spices, and we came to become a community. And over the course of those years, babies were born, and very, 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 very old people died. And we became part of a community. And then COVID began to subside and was less of a fear. And some people began to occasionally not participate in Havdalah, and it began to wane. And we've been doing Havdalah ever since for the past 1.5 years since it began to wane. Turya is a cantor, and she has just left Montgomery, and she's moving to a position. And Rabbi Kramer is going to be retiring from his synagogue position. And it's an opportunity for us to say farewell to Havdalah, which has been part of the landscape for the past 4 years. Charles, who is a part-time cantor, is going to take over the Havdalah and doing it once a month. So for those who are still interested in Havdalah and coming together as a group, it's available. But we all know that things do change eventually, and time moves forward, and we become different people. I'm thinking of all the moments that people who joined in Havdalah for the past 4 years have experienced, those opportunities of smelling something together, seeing something together, lighting a flame together, experiencing the closeness of that primordial being together. And also always saying Eliyahu Hanavi, we're looking forward to the future for safety and for peace. That's still before us, whether we join in once a month or whether people choose to make Havdalah on their own, or if they haven't yet had the understanding of what Havdalah is all about, and they don't, but maybe they will. Maybe they will. We rise for the Aleinu. The Aleinu is on page number 56. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breishit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz, u'moshav yekaro b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo b'gavhei miromim, Hu Eloheinu ein od, emet malkeinu efes zulato, Kakatu b'torato, v'yadatayom, v'shebota el levavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, v'shamayim mimal, v'al haaretz, mitachat ein od. Enon. Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yihyeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, Please now we all remain standing. The Mourner's Kaddish on page number 58. Excuse me. And on this Shabbat we remember with great love Judith Gollum, Judy Scheib, Janet Schultz, Abraham Cohen, Morris Cooper, Rose Lifshitz, Louis Liebeskind, Erwin Meisler, Joseph Miller, Henry Morningstar, Labe Dannenberg, Molly Goldstein, Willie Lips, Eli Buckman, Fanny Robinson, Usher Olinsky, Helen Lubell, Marcus Gerhardt, Emmanuel Gelberman, Bertha Berlin, Edward C. Smith. We're remembering all those whose lives were stolen from us by the attacks by Hamas on October 7th and thereafter. And by the way, missiles are still being thrown and fired. Are there any other names to be mentioned this evening?
Yes, Ken McKinney died at 11:04 today.
Ken McKinney. Any other names? It is D-Day or the day after. And again, we remember all those who handed their lives over so that we might live more safely and securely. And all those who have served ever since in battles and war and who died so we can live more safely and securely. Together, Kaddish, please. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, Amen. Be'olma divara kirute v'yamlich malchute b'chaye chon u'v'yom echon u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'b'zaman karif v'imaru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mivarach la'olam ololmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroma v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitdaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudesha barich hu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran ba'alma v'imaru. Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shamaya v'chayim oleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imaru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom oleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imaru. Amen. And we're seated in shalom. And we remember that the words in the Mourner's Kaddish are not sorrowful and not of grief. I just spoke with somebody just the other day, and this person thought, oh, Mourner's Kaddish is a sad prayer. And I reminded this person, no, it's not a sad prayer. It's testifying to our belief in God and the importance of humanity and peace. And those are the words and the themes that we assert. We embrace the souls of the departed with those ideas, those pivotal ideas that the world is beautiful and is here for divine purpose, and we are part of that, and we seek peace. That's what we're talking about. It's not sorrowful. It's looking into the future once again. So in just a moment, we'll conclude, and we have a song sheet here. It's Le Dor Vador, and this is a musician named Josh Nelson, and most of us know what the words Le Dor Vador mean. It means from one generation to the next generation. We're always thinking of the present, and we're always building towards the future. And please, let's sing along together.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are His story in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. The Dor Vador Nagid Go Lecha, the Dor vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, the Dor vador, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our hearts, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part, we are blessed and we are holy. We are children of your way, and the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. The Dor vador, nagid god lecha. The Dor vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, the Dor vador, these lips will praise your name.
Ahavas. To those joining in from home, we can't wait to see you in person. May God bless you. We love you. You're a very important part of our lives. We hope to see you at some point in the near future here. But until that point, you are blessed and you are a blessing. And we love you.